And now let's look at
structure of the internet.
So what is the internet? The internet is a collection of many computer networks and individual computer units interconnected via routers. Where does the name internet come from? The name internet comes from interconnected networks. Every computer that is connected to the internet is part of a network, even the one in your home. For example, you may use a modem and dial a local number to connect to an ISP or internet service provider. At work, you may be a part of a local area network or LAN, but you most likely still connect to the internet using ISP that your company is contracted with. When you connect your ISP, you become part of their network. The ISP may then connect to a larger network and become part of their network. The internet is simply a network of networks.
Okay, this right here is my desktop. Now the desktops or home computers are connected to the network through something called a router. You can directly connect to a router, or you can use Wi-Fi, wireless, short for, to connect to the router. Now this here is my router. Routing is the process of forwarding IP packets from one network to another, and each communication happens through small packets of data, and the router helps that process by converting data from one form to another.
This is your server room. A server room is a room used to store, power, and operate computer servers and their associated components. Server rooms are primarily used for executing enterprise applications that require massive computing resources at runtime, such as UB's large network.
Now the router connects to something called a modem. A modem is a device or program that enables a computer to transmit data over, for example, telephone or cable lines. Computer information is stored digitally, whereas information transmitted over telephone lines is transmitted in the form of analog waves. A modem converts between these two forms, and now we will trace our cable to where it goes and where it attaches to a wide range of networks. So if you come in here, the lines from my modem, the cables from my modem, goes through this hole to my basement. And if we follow that cable, alright, now the wire that's connected to the modem comes through this hole and then goes all the way outside through here, and then it connects to a big network, and then those networks connect to a much bigger network. Alright, so most of us kind of use the internet without actually knowing how it works, and me and my friend Anthony, we kind of went over like some specific parts of it, but now I'll just kind of try to wrap up the whole thing and kind of try to explain in brief details like what actually goes on and how the internet actually works. And this basically has everything covered. So the internet is sometimes thought of as like this cloud, right? Like you hear about cloud computing and stuff, but that's actually not true. How the internet actually works is so you have let's see, let me do this. So you have this wire. Think of the internet as just a big wire that's buried deep under the ground. So this is the internet, and then you have, and this is useful because you can have two servers. Actually, let me do this. Sorry about that. Yeah, you can have two servers from different parts of the world connected to that big wire. So I'll just do this. Internet. Right. So there you go. So this right here is the internet, and there's this there's a server, let's say in the United States, and then we have one in Africa or somewhere like that. And what happens is, have that. But yeah, so when they're directly connected to this wire and they can communicate, and a server, you can think of a server as like a special computer that is connected directly to the internet, and web pages are files on that server hard drive. Okay, so we have this server here, and this server has its own hard drive, and when you create a web page, let's say use HTML, and I think you probably have done this before. If you create a text file, txt.txt file with HTML, using HTML code, you can actually build a web page and open that on Mozilla Firefox. It's kind of that same idea. So let's say in that hard drive we have web pages, right? So yeah, web pages. Now every server, I hope you can see this out. Now every server has something called an IP, and that's like that's a unique internet protocol address or IP address. And what happens is, this is kind of like a postal address for servers, and it helps computers find each other. But since, let's just say, usually IP addresses are kind of weird, so let me just give you an example. So 10082. So an IP address kind of looks like this. I hope you can see, kind of like this, and that's kind of weird, and it's hard to remember numbers like that, and there are like millions of numbers, right? So what we do is we actually give them names, and those names can be, let's just say, Google, Facebook, whatever, right? So cross that out. So we give them names, and those names are basically IP addresses, and IP address are addresses for individual servers, right? So right now I'll try to explain how home computers work and how they connect. So we still have that wire, that big wire that's deep underground, and that's called the internet. And then let's say we have a server. We have something like, let's try Yahoo, right? Yahoo is a server, okay? And then we also have Google Mail, Gmail, whatever, Gmail. That's it's mailing system, right? And then you have your home computer. Let me just draw this out. You have your laptop, and then okay, and then you have your ISP. Sorry, there we go. ISP. ISP stands for Internet Service Provider, right? Okay, so you can look. So there we go. So this is the internet. We have Yahoo, we have Gmail, we have ISP, and we have our computer, right? And Gmail is connected to that internet, right? And Yahoo is also connected to that internet. But let's just say, for our purposes, this is in a different place, different part of the world, and this is in another part of the world, right? Okay, so what happens is, okay, the computer at our houses, your desktop, your laptops, they themselves are not servers because they are not connected directly to the internet, right? So your computers are clients. They're called clients because they are connected directly to the internet through an internet service provider. Now, ISP can be Time Warner, Verizon, those are like the big names. I know some local ones. I remember, what was it? Ultra something like that. Yeah. And those local ones are they actually ask the big companies for help. And so this is my laptop, right? And I'm using, let's say, a DSL cable that's like yeah, that's like those phone cables. This is pretty old, but I think we now use fiber optics and broadband and everything. So, and let's just say I want to visit yahoo.com, right? Which is a server. Okay. So what we do is uh, I use my laptop. I type in yahoo.com, and then that information, right? When I type in, that information is sent to the ISP, and then the ISP is connected. ISP can connect to the big wire. The ISP goes to the big wire and gets information from Yahoo. It brings in information from that server, right? And then I can actually look at this web page. And let's say I want to send an email to someone. What I would do is actually I would dial up. That's kind of like the old version of saying it. Now it's more complex. But think of this as dialing up a particular email address, and then that email is sent to Gmail. Let's say I have Gmail, my aunt has Yahoo, right? Sent to Gmail through the ISP, right? So the ISP can connect to any. Since the ISP is connected to the big wire is connected to all the servers. When I type in Gmail, the ISP can go to Gmail through that wire and then send information, which can then again travel back through that wire to Yahoo, right? Okay, so yeah, here's our, and let's see, where am I? Okay, so, and whenever you're sending a picture or web pages, or let's say music files, whatever, any type of, those big files, what happens is they go through that big wire in smaller pieces called packets. And when information reaches its destination, the packets are reassembled in their original order to make pictures, like say email, web pages, or tweet, whatever you can think of, right? So web pages are, okay, yeah. So